Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
I hope you enjoyed your break. It's been a real fun time in terms of understanding the first half of this season, but the second half of the season now gets itself firmly focused. It's a mad dash to the end as we look towards the finish of the championship, but it's a championship that is as open as possibly it has ever been. Strategy has changed, it has flipped, but we find ourselves in the Dutch dunes on the north coast. Welcome to Circuit Zandvoort and the 14th round of the iRacing Grand Prix Tour here with SimSpeed TV. It is all about qualifying here today. It's going to be a tough challenge to find an overtake, and strategy might reign supreme with how everyone is going to go about their business. I'm Jake Sperry. Alongside me in the commentary box here for this one is Jay Kennedy as we get ourselves ready for action here in a championship that has been up, down, and all around. Let's take a zoom in at Circuit Zandvoort through our Google Earth entry, and now this is where you get great race to go through. We are midway between Amsterdam and Rotterdam, and we're not a million miles away, as this is a fantastic destination just on the edge of both the English Channel and the North Sea. But down here, Jay, into the circuit, God, I tell you what, this is a circuit that is a piece of mastery, and one of the few circuits in Europe that you look at and go, it actually has a lot of oval representation with it.
A piece of art, isn't it? It's absolutely beautiful, this track. I love it. It's fantastic. Cannot wait for this race. Hello, everybody. It has been a long break, though, hasn't it? It did feel difficult to try and wake up at 4 a.m. to get back up for these again, but I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be one of the best races. Very, very difficult to overtake, as you said. Lots of strategy going to be involved in this one. But this track sort of also naturally breeds a strategic thought process, doesn't it? You really have to think about your moves, think about your overtakes, think about where you can get passes done. 2 DRS zones to run between turns 10 and 11. Don't see much overtaking with that one, but it does set up a run down that front straight out of Ari Leyendijk. Then the run up to Tarzan Bolt. It's a very, very interesting track. It's going to provide some brilliant racing.
It will provide great racing, and it is the last hurrah of the old version of the circuit. The Ari Leyendijk box is very much not banked here, and neither as much is turn 1 at Tarzan. We are expecting that to come out incredibly soon, if not in the next build, but this could be at least for 2023 into 2024. It is expected that this is the last run that we have at Zandvoort in this layout. 72 laps here today, 309 kilometers. Now, these drivers will have to use 2 tyre compounds over the course of the racing action, and that means that they have the soft, the medium, and the hard. And for all circuits, it's between I would say C2, C3, C4. That is how far they go in terms of their tyre life. And it's the indication of it's 1 or 2 stops here today, depending on how brave drivers feel.
Yeah, well, you do an add up of the soft at its best and the medium at its best, and that doesn't quite add up to the 72 laps, does it? So you're going to try and preserve tyres to get yourself through for 2 stops, for 1 stop instead of making 2. The hards, while they will make the distance, they're just not quick enough, so I doubt we'll see anyone on there. Unless we see an incident early on, they might go to the hard to make sure they don't have to make a secondary pit stop. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one in regards to tyre strategy today.
Tyre strategy we'll keep an eye out on as we go through here at the Dutch Dunes here for Zandvoort. Qualifying is still concluding at this point. There are 50 seconds out there on track to get a time in on the board. Times are as quick as 70 seconds around here, set currently at the moment by Jordan Gronkowski, who of course won last time out before the break with a fantastic bit of driving on his strategy. Here is Vicente Garcia Para out there looking to try and find a time. Didn't have a representative first lap, has 30 seconds to find it, Jay. Up over the top of the hill, through the Hans Erst, double right left. This is an incredible feat of cornering, and you need to be patient over at 11 and 12.
Yeah, you've got to be real gentle on the throttle, don't you? You've really got to wait, plan your timing. Throttle, I don't think going to make it to the line. No, he's not. No, this is going to be very interesting when we go through the grid in just a second, but some names a long way back.
Well, this is a track where qualifying is king, and with drivers here, 23 here today, Jordan Gronkowski and Julian Magalon have proven that they have got great pace, and they put themselves on the front row of the grid, and they were 7/10 of a second clear of the second row. Jacob Reed starts third with Connor Pooler in fourth position. Paul Hadley will start fifth, and a great qualifying by Dan Piazza, who will go from sixth position in his first start up in the top split. Norton Motta, the Brazilian, starts seventh, along with Edward Apare Aryi in eighth place, who will have a good effort to do in the number 15 car. Ken Nielsen not happy on the French servers. He'll start then in ninth, with George van Rensburg, South African, in 10th position. A very international affair there, with Walter Lux, the Austrian, in 11th, and Klaus Siemens making his first start in top split this season in 12th place. Jason Green and Kagan Spark will be 13th and 14th. Row 8 consisting of Scott Tuffy and Paul O'Regan. Over, though, you go towards the likes of Florian Kammeyer and Adam Bezoita, who are there in what is 17th and 18th. But you then got row 10, Anthony Catt and Marcel Fassbender. They will need a good run here today. They might be on the one stop. Ossian Richards, the last driver to set a time. Those who didn't, Nick Burke and Vicente Garcia. But as they grid themselves up, they know it's a narrow front stretch, so not much room and not much time to get the move done over to turn one. We've seen Jordan Gronkowski's number 8 be really good, and once again, he is starting on the soft. The only one to match him will be Kent Nielsen, and nobody is biting on the Gronkowski strategy. Let's get ourselves ready then. 72 laps worth of racing action, 31 degrees the track temperature is, and they're off and away. Magalon gets a better start though, as they get the launch over to Tarzan for turn number 1. On the brakes they go, round the outside with Gronk. Troubles already as one goes off then, in through the opening corner. They're fighting off the exit 3 wide, and it goes back down to 2 wide. Gronkowski is through Magalon, straight across the road, and into the barriers. He's surely out the race.
Wow, that's huge. Magalon, massive damage to his car. As you said, he'll be done. That will not be recoverable from there. And Alden Motto was the car that outbroke himself and ran wide at turn 1. But other than that, we've made it through. Everyone's got back into single file almost.
Almost, and through Shevlak, the long right-hander. Big power move being conducted 2 wide just behind with Siemens and Ossian Richards. That was Scott Tuffy making the move, and now here is Marcel Fassbender in the thick of it, trying to find some places out there at this moment. And number 2 is on the medium compound tyre. Surprised to see that Anthony Catt is on the hard, so Fassbender's going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat in terms of strategy. But as they head through Hans Ersten for the first time, heading to turn 13, out on track, and then through Ari Lurendijk to end the opening lap outright. It's Jordan Gronkowski on the soft who is clear. Jacob Reed second, Connor Puller in third, and Paul Hadley having a great start to the race. He's up to 4th.
Really good start from Hadley, isn't it? It's great to see him at the pointy end. Yeah, I'm surprised with Anthony Catt going the hard. We didn't hear anyone talking about the hard tyre at all this week. So, I mean, Anthony Catt's pulled some surprises on us in regards to tyre strategy throughout the season so far, as Tuffy's had an incident. He's facing the wrong way. The hairpin, that's Austin Richards facing the wrong way, sorry.
So Ossian Richards finding himself the wrong way at the Hugenholz, which is not as banked as it is, say, going forward, but I think he got spooked by the spin from what was Scott Tuffy. So he lost out. Everyone tried to avoid it. And just like that, dramas were falling as they go through. Gronkowski already out to a 1.8 second lead. And he's already built himself over a second's worth of margin. That's crucial because the drag reduction system, the rear wing flap on this car, opens on lap 3 of this race. He's clear of the car behind him, being able to chase him down with the use of driver aids.
Yeah, and he's done that a few times this season, hasn't he? Just gone onto the soft tyre straight away and tried to blitz away from the field, hit the DRS out of the way early, and not have to stress about it by the time it comes into pit stops. So now that they've crossed the line to start lap number 3, DRS will be available this time by.
And there is confirmation of the fastest lap, John Gronkowski, 1:14.288, as you saw there on the middle of your screen. There is the focus as we look back on the opening lap. Now, Magalon got a good start. He managed to pull himself alongside, and he almost got himself completely through. But it's Norton Motta that you need to see in about the 4th, 5th row. Everybody's looking for a braking zone, cold tyres, and he just locks up the rear axle in the background. Now you see on the outside, Gronkowski is so aggressive on that outside, forces an angle, forces a lane, and Magalon, I think, gets spooked under braking with cold tyres and just backs it into the wall.
I think you're right. I think that's exactly how it's played out there. It's very unfortunate. We'll quickly see what happened with Tuffy and Richards as well. So this is Tuffy.
Oh, curb. Just grabs the curb on the inside then of turn 2, out on circuit. That is Gerlach. And then by the time he's gathered it back up, he's on the outside of turn 3. Ossian Richards, nowhere to go. Battle, though, is on screen into, I believe, Hans Erst at this point in time. This is Scott Tuffy, and he's got Bezoita there just behind, who is looking to try and keep himself in range. This is 17th place, little wiggle coming through. Looks like Apare Arie has lost the place to Walter Lux out on track, but here comes the move, and this is where the DRS is going to be key. You are going to have a run if you're close enough. You'll have to go the long way around Tarzan, the on-camera back corner. Big lock-up, though, from Tuffy going through the corner and on the exit, down the hill. Thank you very much, Bezoita, with a good pass.
I think that might just be the difference between the soft... Oh, no, sorry, he's caught me off guard there with those red rims. They're both on the medium tyre. But yeah, that was a very, very nice pass, getting it done around the outside. Also, as you said, Walter Lux getting a move done into turn 1. This is the overtake. The advantage of DRS.
You can see able to move to the inside, gets alongside, and practically has it done under braking, and is able to move up then into what is now at 7th position past Edward Apare Arie. Biggest movers then inside the top 10 as it stands. Florian Kammeyer is one of those drivers who's made an amazing start to this race. He's up 7 places, so 2 up 7 places worth keeping an eye out on. Anthony Catt.
Anthony Catt in 12th. He's going to be one to keep our eye on throughout the entirety of this race. The battle at the top of the field stays very, very static for the moment. Anthony Catt is the one that's under pressure, though, isn't he? He's got Kagan Spark just behind him. And Marcel Fassbender, remember, starting from 20th position. He's up into 14th and starting to close in on these guys as well. So we'll see Fassbender here with Anthony Catt in not too long.
I'm not sure whether it's Kagan or Kagan. It might be the Turkish driver, Kagan Spark, at this point in time. So we'll see how he goes out there in terms of this race. Catt then will have his hands full at this moment in time, dealing with the spark that lights it all off behind. But you know what this race is going to be all about. It is strategy, and it is also tyres here, Jay. Because you look at this track, and this version, this older version of the track, I argue, is a lot more difficult than the bank version. And the reason why is that all these flat corners are tyre punishers.
Yeah, there's nowhere to rest the tyres. So, yeah, I think you're right in that... that this track layout or this track version is much, much more difficult than the real-world version that we've got now, which we will see in iRacing in the very, very near future. Yeah, I think the way that the tyres don't get a break, very, very crucial. As Spark looks up the inside, gets the nose in there, and he's going to get this move done.
Yeah, at turn 1, the prime place to get it done, cuts over through, heading to Gerlach at turn 2. And moves up then one more. So up into 12th place he goes, making that all happen. And it was seamless in terms of the way that overtake was able to be constructed. I'll tell you what, it's going to be interesting to see what Kent Nielsen does. We look on board from the rear wing. We expect this to be a higher downforce circuit. You can tell by the bevel of the wing that that is a high downforce style setup there potentially as it goes through. Kent Nielsen on the soft. He's got to use that tyre up early in this race. The issue he's got with the DRS is he's struggling to find a way past Dan Piazza, the number 19.
He's got to get a great run out of here, and he has. But the issue is, he had that good a run, he might have had to get out of the throttle a little bit early. Now, isn't close enough. This run through 13 and 14 won't be close enough with this, even with the DRS, to get the move done. The hard thing that he's got here, the thing that's really going against him, is Piazza also has the DRS. So while he's getting double, triple DRS, it's not enough down the relatively short front straight.
Absolutely, that straight is very difficult to get a run out of. That's why the newer version of the circuit has that banked final corner so you can carry more speed. Into the pits goes Scott Tuffy then to make a stop. And that is at the end of lap 6 out there overall. Very early in terms of trying to make a stop, which would indicate that maybe he's got some damage out there on his car that he needs fixing.
I think that'd have to be damaged, wouldn't it? So 10-second stop, so he's changed to front wing. And now we'll be back out and away. Jason Green's starting to come under some pressure now. Sorry, Spiro.
No, absolutely he is. And you look at this, in fact, it's Florian Kammeyer who's got the pressure right now. Behind him, Green, Spark, Cat, Fassbender, Seamet, and O'Regan, you can say, are also trying to get in on this. So this is where it gets important. Drivers who have pace and drivers who do not at this point. And Florian Kammeyer here from Club Diach is going to have himself a whole heap of drivers wanting to go through. And this is where strategy again becomes important. It's just in front of Kammeyer. That is a move for Kent Nielsen, finally getting it done on Dan Piazza, who's trying to get back at it. Not happening. Side by side, Green with the late lunge to the inside. Kammeyer on the outside is going to try and hold it, but it's on the wrong side of the road here, heading to Gerlach, and he gets freight trained as Kagan Spark dives through, and Anthony Cat tries to run around the outside up the hill. He can't get it done.
And Fassbender was there to try and pounce on it as well, but couldn't quite get in there. Wanted to throw the nose in, but didn't know which way to go. He might get a spot here as through goes Anthony Cat. Kammeyer just lost four spots in, what, 6 corners?
Yeah, when it rains, it pours, and that very much tells for Florian Kammeyer, who did not feel comfortable leading that group, and once one went through, it was very much a case of all the animals out the barn door. Yep,
opened the floodgates, and that was a big flood of positions, and he's dropped 3.5 seconds as well. That overtake, which really was just one overtake, wasn't it? Lost all of those positions, but he'll push on. He'll recompose himself. Positive that he's got is he's probably going to be able to get a spot back from Anthony Cat, just based on the tyre preservation. Spark looking up the inside late on Jason Green. He might get it done here. Not quite.
He might do. Oh no, he's going to back out of it though. Fall back into line, so Kagan Spark will have to wait for that top 10 position. It's a little bit wider on that line. He goes and looks to go and make some progress. He knows how important it is to get clean air out on track, and the only thing that's stopping him right now is the number 6 of Jason Green. So he's just got to play the patience card and give himself the opportunity to really rush and time that move.
I think that's one of the things about this track, isn't it? It's really a lot of patience at this track. You feel like you're never going to get an overtake. You've got to force a mistake. But the positive that you have is you don't have to force a big mistake to be able to get a move done. So you just saw there a tiny little error from Jason Green. He's lost a spot, and now all of a sudden, got to work hard to make sure he doesn't lose a second and maybe a third. So very, very nice move from Spark. It's Kent Nielsen threw up the inside again. He's getting another move done down the front straight and into 4th.
Oh. He almost overcooks it there through turn 1 against Paul Hadley, who very much left him the room and said, thank you very much. I will take that position. I will take that comfortably out there overall. So a very nice bit of work then that gets constructed then with that overtake. But that group continues. Spark now in 10th, and Marcel Fassbender. Oh my word, he's putting his nose in where it didn't belong there. Anthony Cat very much gave him next to no room, and that was very nearly two of your main protagonists in the championship finding trouble here at Zandvoort.
Very close, but they continue on. I must say, looking there, that camera shot showed it very, very well through turn 8. How different a line everyone seems to take through this section. It always feels like there's no proper one correct line. And you see there, the run into turn 10. Anthony Cat very, very wide. Fassbender looking up the inside, taking a very shallow line. But they both had the same net result, didn't they? So Cat might have to be a little bit careful. If Fassbender's a little bit closer, he might be able to get the nose up there, but not quite close enough yet. Fassbender's ready to pounce, though, isn't he?
He is, but I'm looking at the way that Anthony Cat's driving. He's driving so much smoother than Jason Green in front. It's so clear that he's got the pace to go by, that he just can't find a way to make it happen. Maybe down to the tyres, or maybe down to the fact that Kagan Spark is there just in front. So you now start thinking about, well, okay, what do I need to do? He's committed himself to the long haul, so he is very much in a must-pass situation if he wants to go out there on pure pace and really make the most out of it. But at the same time, he could use this as an opportunity maybe to keep some fuel in the car to burn the wick later on. Of course, they can't refuel the car, but look at it through Shevlak. He's so good through Shevlak.
It's amazing the difference in car performance.
Spark off the road.
Oh, yep. It's held onto it
just making a small mistake there, Jay.
Yeah, it's the small errors, as we said before, it's what's going to be the difference between making overtakes and losing positions and the like. So he's done a good job to hold on to the spot, but he's feeling that pressure now. Look at how close this pack has become now. Kamaya dropped off the back, but he's starting to close it back in again. And Siemens and O'Regan, you said earlier, they were trying to get onto this group. They're not far off as well now.
No, they're not far off either. And now here comes the chance for Anthony Cat. He's not going to wait twice for this one. He knows he's got to make this move, and he does so. Marcel Fassbender will immediately shadow Anthony Cat through, knowing how important it is to stay in line with him, and does make that pass. So gets it done nicely, and now we'll look forward here, and it's all about progress. This is the middle of the group. We're on lap 12 here of 72. Jordan Gronkowski is your race leader, and he's 6 seconds to the good on Jacob Reed because he started on the soft tyre compared to Reed on the medium. Connor Pooler currently third. Kent Nielsen in fourth position right now, trying to make his progress on the soft tyre too. This is the race on for 10th position out there on circuit, and all important because in the SimSpeed Championship, there's one championship point available for this one.
Yep, last position for points in our championship, and it's been very, very hotly contested around this mid-pack each and every race, hasn't it? That 10th position seems to be about where the main battles have been almost every race this season. We've seen some great battles at the front, some great battles in the back of the pack, great battles all the way through the middle, but the mid-pack always seems to provide something very, very special, doesn't it?
Yeah, we've just had a change as Dan Piazza's gone through on Paul Hadley. So that's a change for 5th place out on track. Here comes Anthony Cat back to the inside and searching for it, and is going to get it here. Now, can Fassbender follow that one too, heading towards Gerlach? No, he can't now for the first time, as now they chop and change behind. This is O'Regan and Siemens going at it, and they brought Norton Motta, who, remember, was turned around at turn 1 of this race.
It's turned into a really good fight. This is the overtake that you said just happened as well for 5th, and this is a classic Zandvoort DRS overtake. Waiting to the last possible second. Surprise dive up the inside, and the driver that was leading going in can't really respond to that. No time to do it.
No time at all. And I think that really did show just how committed you have to be in terms of these moves. You have to take the space away, and you will see that more and more later on in this season, Jay, when you've got tracks like the Motor City race at Belle Isle still on the horizon. There are going to be a number of tracks where you're going to have to be that committed. Mangi Core is another one that's going to stand out in the calendar.
I forgot that we had Belle Isle on the calendar. I'm now actually nervous about that race. That's going to be brilliant, scary, exciting. think of a superlative, and it's going to be that. It'll be brilliant. Here comes Fassbender having another look, not quite close enough. He's looking very, very racy. He wants to get as many spots as he can in this first phase of the race before he swaps to the soft tyre.
And you have to consider as well what he wants in this race. He's already 27 seconds behind the race lead. He's an entire pit stop behind Jordan Gronkowski, who is the championship leader overall. But he will be looking to try and race again. Look at DeMar. They'll go. What a pass for Sheevlan. He committed himself up through Rob Slotemaker and then found the pass with aplomb and then finds the grass and goes straight off immediately.
Wow. That's heartbreaking, isn't it? Because he had such a beautiful overtake. He's kept it out of the wall just, but I think we're going to see a bit of a strategy switch here now. He's going to change to the soft tyre. I think he's going to come in now and just go all guns blazing here.
I think he's got no choice, but the move was absolutely incredible. It's just a shame that 2 corners later it went away. Absolutely attacking up turn 6, committed to that inside against Kagan Spark, but then when it comes to the next section of road, overcooks it through Masters. Probably the most difficult corner on the circuit. There's a lot of difficult corners, but Masters corner, you really do have to be a master to try and get through.
Definitely do. Yeah, slightly overcooked it. No. Kent Nielsen's making progress. Have a look at this for a late lunge. Inside of Connor Pooler. Pooler goes, well, I guess I better not turn in because all of a sudden you're there. And that's moved on. So he's now up into 3rd.
Connor Pooler has had a pole position this season, but yet to put something on the W column. Has just been getting better and better as this season goes on. And his 4th place right now is really good for what he's done. Gained and lost nothing so far in this race, despite the lost overtake there over that last lap. Kent Nielsen knowing he has to try and do something with the tyres, but I think Jacob Reed here is actually driving a really good race in 2nd position as we focus behind on Edward Apari-Arie against George Van Rensburg. He's only 8 seconds ahead of the likes of Kent Nielsen in 2nd, but he's only 6.7 back of Jordan Gronkowski. He's doing an incredible job right now here, Jay, of keeping Gronkowski in check, basically.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's doing a really good job just maintaining the gap. I mean, he's losing a little bit of ground, but he's not losing too much ground considering the tyre advantage or disadvantage that he's got. Go back to this battle because this has been getting a little bit close over the last couple of laps. It's been fluctuating between about 0.3 and 0.7 between these two. And I wouldn't be surprised if Van Rensburg thinks about getting a move done because I think he's starting to feel like he might be getting held up a little.
Apari-Arie has been in 8th position for a very long time. The South African behind him, George Van Rensburg, has just been being patient as much as he possibly can here in this. He's been putting a nice consistent race together, and you consider George Van Rensburg at a number of races early on this season was one of the first names you'd tick off in your box to say found the barrier. This is a really nice change of form for him. 9th position, he'll certainly take this at the moment.
He's had a lot of bad luck come his way throughout the season. He's been on the wrong side of the track when there's been an incident and cars have made contact with him. He's been forced off the road and into the wall. He's had moments where he's slightly outbroke himself and put it into the fence as well. So he deserves a good result, and fingers crossed it continues in this manner for him. Look at how much of an advantage he's got. Hey, what, that much he might be able to get the move done. Not quite close enough, but that was a very, very intentional move.
He got the nose up the inside, but just had none of the turn to really commit that. No mechanical grip, really, to fight that against. And I think that was rather telling in terms of the way he's got that done. Edward Apari-Arie, though, is going to need to find a little bit of space out there on track. Lap 17 here of 72, and a lot more aggressive there from George Van Rensburg. He's really trying to keep himself in range here.
Yep. I wonder how much battery he used, though, trying to get that move done down the front straight. Now, does he have to take a couple of laps to regenerate some battery, regenerate some of that back into the car before he has another attempt at the move? He's still staying within half a second, so maybe he might be able to do something coming into the front straight. This time, a little bit of a mistake there. Van Rensburg not quite close enough to pounce yet, but he's not far away.
He's not far away, and you talk about the importance of having electrical energy to go out there and attack. These cars are hybrid systems, these Mercedes W13 e-performances, and you talk about it, it's about 20% of the engine is basically running on hybrid power, and that will become more and more important, how much battery you save coming into further seasons. For example, 2025, you're expecting that to be a 50-50 split between the electrical energy and the fuel.
It's interesting dynamic how it's going to evolve. It's kinetic energy, the battery that is in the car. Amazing technology when you think about it, how far we've come, and the fact that we don't rely on petroleum like we once did in these style of racing and a lot of racing now. Which is absolutely blows the mind when you think back 30 years. There was no concept of that at all.
No, absolutely not, Jay. And I tell you what as well, you are starting to see with this sort of machinery that the more and more Dan Piazza's around. Dan Piazza coming out of Hans Erst. He was right on the back of Conor Paula, and he finds out why it's so difficult to put the power down in these Mercedes.
Big error, isn't it? It's a strange spot to see a car positioned with an incident, but just didn't even hit the curb. He hit the
Didn't
wall.
even hit the wall.
Oh, well done.
It's a big well done there for Piazza to be able to save it. But you're talking about that small difference. There's a small ridge over there, and it's that, again, that oval influence that you have there, just coming off of the berm and just having that extra little bit of torque. That's all it costs. Now, here is the move then by George van Rensburg. He's got himself through on a Pare RE, and this is how he's done it, straight into turn number one. He's got that fantastically done. No argument there from Edward. He's going to have to watch now from ninth position.
Have a look at the gap he's already pulled too. He's already pulled a second as Van Rensburg, so he's done a very, very good job. It just shows that he was really getting held up during that little phase of the race there. Now, starting to break away. He's got his eyes forward on Piazza, who's now starting to struggle a little bit. He'll have hyperheated tyres. He'll have to conserve a tiny little bit now. Bring that back down into manageable condition. Walter Luck's just ahead, so you'll have a DRS for now, but I think Jorns van Rensburg will be right on his tail within maybe 2 laps.
Speaking of struggling, keep an eye on your race leader, Jordan Gronkowski, here on lap 20. The tyres are starting to fade right now. His last 3 laps, 15.3, 15.4, 15.7. Compare that to Jacob Reed, 15.3, 15.5, 15.1. So Jacob Reed is keeping that consistency. Gronkowski is starting to struggle a little bit. He's managed to mitigate the damage on this lap. Gaps back out to 6.8 as it stands at the moment. So the work is very nicely being done out there overall. There's also been a change down the order. Marcel Fassbender through on Adam Bezoita. So that's moved him back up into 17th position. So that was very comfortably done into turn number one. But we are now starting to know we are getting towards that soft compound tyre pit window.
Yep, we've heard around about 22 laps, and at the end of lap number 20, he comes.
On cue, Jordan Gronkowski, who, remember, started out the season as the lowest iRacing driver in the field, turned heads, and over the course of these seasons, he's turned into a real tour de force out there in terms of this one. Jacob Reed, who does have a race victory this season, but not on our cameras, he is going to look for something. In also is Kent Nielsen. Out and away will come Jordan Gronkowski. He has moved on to the hard compound tyre. Big, bold decision there to go on to the hard. Wasn't expecting soft hard as a strategy.
No, it definitely wasn't on our bingo card for today, but I'm wondering if the great performance that Anthony Catt is showing here may have changed the strategy thinking for a few drivers. They might go, hey, the hard isn't as bad as we were thinking in testing. Maybe the track conditions are a little bit better in race spec than what we had been thinking in testing. Anthony Catt may have opened a few eyes towards the hard being a possibility as a definite race tyre. It's definitely made me scratch my head, especially from the information we got from a lot of drivers that the hard wasn't likely to be a race tyre today.
And how much of that here, Jay, is the fact that we're in sim time, 3:45 at the moment, and that track is actually cooling at this point in time, that it's getting more and more into an operating window. And here's the first chance that we're going to get here today to talk about how much that track has changed over the course of the race. Started out at 31 degrees, it's now down here in towards 29, so it is starting to dip. You are seeing those small little dips that are going through, and the ambient hasn't changed much, but the track temperature is starting to cool as there goes through Piazza ahead of Walter Lux.
Yeah, Walter Lux, very, very nice move. Sorry for Dan Piazza, nice move there on Walter Lux. And just also seeing Kamaya finally getting a move done. Remember, he was been at the back of that big group for a long time, not quite through. That was very, very close between he and Spark there.
Yeah, that was an incredibly close battle that went on forward, and that could have very easily have been a move done there for Floor. Oh, what a save by Kagan Spark. Huge wiggle up over the hill. It checks up the runner, Kent Nielsen, who's just come in to make his stop. But Kagan having an almighty wiggle coming up the hill out of the Hugenholz.
Just taps the curb, and I tell you what, when you leave skid marks going up the hill like that, that's usually a pretty nervous time, and he'll be having a bit of a brown pants moment. We've also seen just then as well, all the Motta come in. He's gone medium already, so don't be surprised to see some of these drivers starting to struggle on tyres coming in now. This is about the earliest we would see medium tyres start to fail. I wouldn't be surprised to see the likes of Spark in now or in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, I think this is an important time. Jason Green dives into the pits then, so he'll be one of the first medium runners to jump off and change his tyres. There is the look then from Kent Nielsen on the inside. He's not going to find it here, maybe trying to attack off the exit. He is still not going to try and find that move. Another driver who's held up now is Gronkowski. Every time, Green's gone onto the soft tyre, but Gronkowski, almost into the back of Hadley, heading through turn number 9. They head through the long left-hander of CM.com corner, turn 10. He now knows it's about power and finding that room, and he has a little think about it into Hans S, but he's not going to make that pass.
Gronkowski needs to use his head here, though, too. He needs to remember that he is still ahead of Jacob Reed. Jacob Reed is the car he's battling. As long as his lap times are consistent and matching Reed's times, he's okay. He doesn't have to be punching out fastest laps right at this point. Just needs to be consistent. He did lose a little bit of ground on this lap, just being held up a little. Waited, got the move done. Very, very nice from Gronkowski. That's some very, very smart driving.
Smart driving, using the tyres fantastically. In comes Edward Apare-Ari in for his first stop of the race. He does so on lap 23, lap 24. He will move in and make that stop. So too, Kagan Spark, no surprises. He's diving into the pits after the way that he absolutely torched his tyres.
One thing we haven't talked about yet is this pit lane. We've seen every pit lane from memory so far has been 80 kilometers an hour speed limit. This one is the slowest we will see, only 60 kilometers an hour. So that does play a little bit of an impact. It means that, well, it's a short pit lane. You do lose a lot of ground when you come into the pits. It's around about 25 odd seconds that you lose. Kagan Spark almost ended his race though coming into the pits. Watch this.
Well, it's one of the toughest pit entries you've got to try and get right. Oh, locks up both fronts, but is able to get that slowed up for 60 Ks to make sure that one goes through. So brilliantly done in terms of the scrapping there. And finally, it looks like through. It's gone Kent Nielsen. That there is on Paul O'Regan, so he's made that pass. Speaking of passes, Gronkowski's got his next target in sight. The driver in second position right now is Connor Pooler. Here is another look, though, at how to get this done. Kamaya just runs a little bit wide there through CM.com, and just like that, easy pickings.
Nice move. Very nice move in the end there for Kent Nielsen, now back up into 9th position. And as you said, Connor Pooler now starting to feel the pressure from Gronkowski. And Hadley's sticking with Gronkowski as well. I thought Gronkowski might have broken away a little bit, but doing a very, very good job. And maintaining this gap very, very nicely. And Connor Pooler started to drop a little bit of ground.
He is starting to drop, and I think that's key. He's dropped half a second on this lap, if not more, to Jacob Reed. So this is a huge pivotal moment in terms of this race for what Pooler wants compared to Jacob Reed, who is doing a great job at the front of this field. And if he can extend those medium tyres out to about lap 30, he will get the best of the soft tyres and not have to worry about the tyre drop-off on a two-stop strategy.
Or is he going to be able to make these tyres last and potentially do a one-stop? I think that the cool track conditions may make this one-stop viable as up the inside goes Gronkowski. He's going to get it done by the end of turn 2. He does finally. Nice move. Van Rensburg comes in, responds to the pit stop from Edward from earlier.
Yeah, he certainly does, and he'll make his stop and look to try and get out and away as quickly as he possibly can. I'm interested to see where Van Rensburg actually comes out in comparison to some of the other drivers in this field, and it looks like he is out and away on the set of mediums. I'm not quite sure if he got himself a brilliant run. He was very, very late in terms of his exit out of the pits.
It was a bit of a surprising way that he came through the lane there, as I just seen there. That's Northern Motta through on Spark and Kamaya back in 19th position. But yeah, it did look like a little bit of a sluggish exit, but I'm wondering if that's just the slow pit lane speed that's caught us off guard there. So he has come out net, 3 seconds ahead of where he was.
That's really good for him then. So he's definitely taking the advantage over Jason Green, who's on the soft tyre. Van Rensburg out on the medium. There is Apare Arie, who very much got held up by Vicente Para in his stop. So Vicente Garcia Para, and that was enough for him to effectively lose those 2 positions, important positions in terms of his race. Outstanding. Brakes being locked then by Connor Pooler. He's been caught by Paul Hadley in the number 10 car, who definitely wants to try and get through Club UK and Ireland and try and move up that extra position, gain that extra place, and be effectively on the podium, minus those who have yet to or have already made those stops, like Kent Nielsen, for example, in terms of this race. It's another little look then. This is the move from Marcel Fassbender. He's trying to recover in this one, and he will comfortably make that pass with the aid of DRS.
Very, very nice move, and yeah, back up into the top 9 now for Fassbender. He's still marching forward. Not the fastest car out on track at the moment, but his pace is definitely better now than it was 15 minutes ago while he was getting held up. Interesting that Kent Nielsen has just punched out his fastest lap of the race. Surprisingly done that on the mediums. Remember, he ran that first stint on the softs. He's done his fastest lap now on the mediums. Gronkowski still holding that fastest lap of the race. His lap that he's just completed then, 1.6 seconds slower than his fastest lap on the softs in that early phase.
And you consider Jacob Reed is on 28 lap old medium compound tyres right now. He did his last lap 3/10 quicker than John Gronkowski on fresh hard tyres. That indicates that the hard tyre is pretty much the long haul tyre for Jordan Gronkowski. Jacob Reed will take an advantage through this phase of the race and gain as much as he can. The longer that he stays on a 2-stop, he knows that he is on qualifying laps. The moment he puts on those soft tyres, those soft boots effectively on his car, and he knows that he is in 2 sprint modes as he looks to try and make a traditional 2-stop strategy. Stays out for a 29th lap.
Does he try and push this to lap 40 and maybe do a 1-stop on softs? Oh no! Oh no, big mistake. Jacob Reed off the track.
Turn 1 strikes, and it's one of the later braking zones that you got out there, and if you get it wrong, you plateau, and that's going to cost him a lot of time in terms of what he was looking at. That'll be maybe 3, maybe 4 seconds out there in terms of his race, and he knows he couldn't afford to make that, and he's going to have to make that time back up in the race, and in fact it's cost him 6 seconds out on track. 6 valuable seconds that Jordan Gronkowski will be lapping up.
Yep, I'm seeing 6.2 seconds on my timing as the time lost from that incident, so that's huge for him. He'll be devastated with what's happened there as well. He'll be able to continue on, but ruined any potential for something special. Just notice this as well. while we're watching that replay, watch Van Rensburg here.
Well, this is trying to get past Nick Burke out on circuit. So, oh, Georgie boy. Georgie Pudding and Pie, and finds himself in the barriers and maybe with a few tears in his eye. That not good in terms of how he goes in. And we've got another car down in the pits. It's Bezoita in for a stop, and a long one at that.
Yeah, a long stop. So I don't see any penalties. So I'm not sure why he's still stopped, but he is. We'll try and get to the bottom of that. Fingers crossed he gets back out on track. Paul Hadley still trying to get this move done on Connor Pooler, but not quite close enough. Tell you what, this battle is going to get very, very interesting here. Watch this one. Anthony Catt versus Kent Nielsen. It's been closing over the last little bit. Comes Nielsen. Oh, it's not going to last long at all, is it? Maybe.
Oh, it is. On the exit it might, but Anthony Catt knows he's not racing Kent Nielsen outright, although that was full position. One who's made a stop, one who's not. Cat's in it for the long haul, and you've got Kent Nielsen who's on much fresher tyres, much newer tyres, much stronger tyres, and is going to be out there trying to deal as much damage as possible over the course of this stint. Another battle then on the front stretch as Norton Motta makes the pass on Vicente Garcia Parra and moves up another one. That now puts him up into 15th place with the move.
A nice move from Northern Motta. He's had the best start to the day. His recovery moving forward has been pretty impressive. As Jacob Reed decides those tyres are done, no surprise to see he's coming in, so this will be a two-stop, you would imagine, as through goes Gronkowski. I'm 95% sure he's going to go soft here because he cannot do the same as Gronkowski. There's no point.
There absolutely isn't. On go the softs. And now Jacob Reed will have to push in terms of this race. He has thrown 6 seconds in the back pocket away, and those 6 seconds would have put him ahead of Dan Piazza coming out of the pits right with Paul Hadley. So that, I think, actually could be a small blessing in disguise as also Walter Lux dives into the pits, because if he pitted and not had that incident, he would have come out right in the midst of a battle for third place, Jay.
Would have been right there, and now he's sort of in no man's land, isn't he? 6 seconds ahead would have put him right with Hadley, maybe just ahead of him. So he'll be looking at that and feeling very, very disappointed. And then he would have only been 7 seconds behind Gronkowski. That's definitely reachable on soft tyres in this stage of the race. So Jacob Reed will be devastated with what's happened there, but going to have to work hard now to get himself forward, gain these spots. Qualifying time for him now. Qualifying mode, he's only got to do 20 laps on these tyres.
You also have to look at the way that he's got to go about this stint here, Jay, and realise that he is a driver with a brand new stripe, and that's a very slow Marcel Fassbender.
Well, I'm not sure what's happened. I just saw that he was going slow, and well, we'll see if we can pick it up. But yeah, he's had a moment here coming out of turn 10.
Oh, he absolutely has. And the car's just snapped on him going through the exit. Winds are about 15 k's here blowing in from the south, so especially around here, the Dutch Dunes, it does pick up here, the wind, and into the pits comes Marcel Fassbender. I think he's got absolutely nothing left in the rears.
Yep. Well, thoughts that maybe they might be able to get up to 35, 38 laps. Doesn't look like it's going to happen with these medium compound tyres. He goes to softs. Pooler, Hadley, Piazza, Pat O'Regan and Klaus Siemertz, as well as Garcia Parra. They all have not stopped. All started on the medium except for Cat. So we'll expect almost all of those in within the next 2 or 3 laps, you would imagine, based on how everyone else is really struggling for tyre life.
Jacob Reed all over the back of Dan Piazza, really trying to put some focus forward on car number 19 from Club Italy. Can he find the move to get that one back up into 4th position? There's no tick into the pit lane, so it's going to be done on track here with the drag reduction system. He'll move to the inside. He'll have no arguments about it. He'll go through and he'll put the fastest lap and the extra bonus championship point, the SimSpeed championship to boot, in the back pocket. 1:14.270.
Nice lap. Help from DRS, but still got to get the position done and gain the time. Be great for him as well in regards to confidence levels as well. Here is Klaus Siemertz and Walter Lux We've seen these two battle for the last however long we've been doing this these broadcasts, and that's a very, very nice bit of driving from Walter Lux.
Yeah, comfortably makes the pass on the fresher tyres. We saw one driver dive into the pits. That was Paul O'Regan, who's gone out onto the soft compound tyre. It is currently 9.5 seconds. Your race lead at the moment is O'Regan back out and away in 17th, just ahead of Marcel Fassbender, who is not having a good time. The German here in the Netherlands. At this point, he will look for drive up the hill, will Marcel, and he will look for places. Will Marcel, so two looking for places now is going to be Jacob Reed. He's got his eyes on third place now as Marcel Fassbender continues on his scrap, but through comfortably will go Jacob Reed. No argument about it. He nearly attacks him off the exit here to get Conor Puller. He might get 2 and 2 here at Gerlach. He has a look not there.
And have a look at that lap time of 13.7, our first lap in the 13s. Getting overtakes done. Still having to drive aggressively, drive hard, and do a lap time 3 seconds faster than the car he's now chasing down. Conor Puller did a 16.6, Jacob Reed a 13.7.
Oh, and he's all over him heading towards Masters Corner. He's really having to lift off through this section of road, heading to turn 9 here. And can he attack off the exit? Look at the understeer for Conor Puller. He's got no grip left in the tyres to fight. And these corners are rear limiting, and that's different to being front limiting. Front limiting means you're going to struggle with understeer. You got the rear limiting, you're going to struggle a little bit with oversteer. I think it's a case where they're going to struggle with oversteer, and as such, they're going to have to baby the throttle through. And when you've got no grip, got no turning, you're worried about that oversteer, you're just not going to carry corner speed.
Once you start to lose that corner speed, you start to lose confidence in yourself, confidence in your driving ability, confidence in the car, confidence in the tyre. These guys will be starting to feel now like they've lost a lot of that. They're now lapping into the 17-second bracket, so they're really babying tyres home for this stint, hoping to be able to do this on one stop. But I don't think these tyres are going to last. I think they're going to lose too much ground. This will be a great comparison for them. How much ground will they lose to Conor Puller and how fast? If they lose 15 seconds in the next 10 laps, they've wasted their time. They might as well have done a 2-stop over a 1-stop.
Well, that's going to be the ultimate debate that they're going to be having out there. And already you can sense 3 seconds over the course of this lap has already flown by for Jacob Reed. He is driving essentially a different category of class between these drivers.
They have to pit. There's no point them staying out as Marcel Fassbender does the new fastest lap of the race. 13.7, just pips time done by Jacob Reed by 0.05 of a second.
And Jay, we also have to remember for the SimSpeed Championship, with Fassbender setting that time in 16th place, he will not get the SimSpeed fastest lap bonus point.
Oh, he needs to get himself up into the top 10. Will these guys come into the pits? No. Also got another retirement. Jacob Reed sets the fastest lap again, a 13.1. This is Vicente Garcia Parra. In contact here. He's in the fence, no contact.
Oh,
that's race done.
I think he just spins up the rears. Yep. He's so out of the throttle, he realises that I'm going to let a couple drivers go, tries to get back on the power, and all of a sudden, the car just spins on the banking there, and that is the end of the Spaniards' race. So Vicente Garcia Parra will be the 3rd retirement of this one, joining Adam Bezoita and Julian Magalon. Here is then a little bit of a move going through. It looks like Norton Motter off the road. Round the outside goes Florian Kamar. I think that may have been, probably was Jacob Reed trying to just get himself by and around. So that then another little move then being concocted out on circuit. So I correct myself there.
You're right the first time.
Reed. I think that was Florian Kamar.
You were right the first time. You needed to trust your instinct there. That was Kamar and Mother changing position and put a mistake.
Same livery.
Yeah, exactly. You're running the default Mercedes livery. Let's see what Jacob Reed does this time. Now, remember, Jacob Reed on soft tyres and Kowski on hard, but Jacob Reed will have to make one more stop. 1.2 seconds. I think if he can get 1.5 seconds around about a lap, I think Gronkowski's in a very, very good position and may force Gronkowski to change his strategy.
But it was the fastest lap there from Jacob Reed, a 1:13.715. So I wouldn't be too critical about that in terms of a lap from Jacob Reed. He is the fastest driver out there.
Oh, my.
13.137, I think, is his fastest lap out there. But I wouldn't be too critical about him. He's doing everything he needs to do over the course of this race. He's got the laps as well in the back of the pocket to get himself through. And we are at around that halfway stage of the race. Lap 37 here of 72. They have themselves now 35 laps to go in terms of this race. Next time they cross the line, Jordan Gronkowski, your race leader, by 6.5 seconds over Jacob Reed, who is there in the number 4 car with the new Pro stripe around it. And get this, he's already thrown 6 seconds in this race away. Connor Pooler finds himself third. He's yet to stop, along with Paul Hadley and Dan Piazza. Kent Nielsen is in 6th position, with Anthony Catt also yet to stop on the hard tyre in 7th position. Walter Lux finds himself in 8th, Jason Green in 9th, and it's Edward Apare-Aye who rounds out the top 10 as it stands in this race. Multiple strategies looking to converge here in the relative middle stages of this race, and I think Kent Nielsen will be the next big focus. Keep an eye out on. He is chasing down Dan Piazza and is looking for a 5th place.
Definitely is. He's got that gap down to under a second. He's been closing it down about a second at a time, lap on lap over the last few laps. I'm just trying to do some maths in my head as well, Sperry, based on current pace and my prediction on how many laps is going to get in this stint. Jacob Reed may actually still be able to win the race despite losing that 6 seconds. I think Gronkowski has made the wrong move going to the hard tyre. His pace is just not there to be able to match it to Jacob Reed's pace that he's got currently. This battle, though, between Piazza and Nielsen is very, very intense. Look at how quickly Kent Nielsen's closed that gap down. Turn 1, I don't think there's going to be even a battle here.
But could Jordan Gronkowski switch to a 2-stop by moving on to the medium or the soft and just bailing, basically?
He has to. I mean, it's down to 4.5 seconds. Ready. Comes Piazza. Oh, no!
Oh, no! Just like that. Dan Piazza coming into the pits. Kent Nielsen absolutely trying to follow in the draft. Both of their races are done.
That's something that happens here at this track when there's no communication. It is a very, very difficult pit entry. And that's just lack of awareness of what was going on there. Cats are coming into the pits. Kent Nielsen thinking that was just a defensive line. All of a sudden he's on the brakes. Bang, contact made before he could even react.
He dives over to the right. Kent Nielsen should know he's coming in. He's slowing down. He's off the circuit. That is all on Kent Nielsen, just trying to be too aggressive. He played chicken there with Dan Piazza, and there was no need. He was in such a great position in that race.
He was going to get the overtake done anyway, wasn't he? The pace that he had, he was going to get that overtake done. So, yeah, he'll look back at that and go, yeah, that was really bad. Both of them in the InSim chat basically saying there's no words for that. That was poor. I don't think anything else needs to be said. I think very, very easy to work at what happened there.
It's as plain as your ABCs out there, but it will promote the likes of Anthony Catt up a couple of positions, Marcel Fassbender up a couple of positions. That incident is huge for the championship because a driver like Anthony Catt right now, who is driving his socks off in 5th place, is going to be gaining so much out of that.
100%, he's going to gain big time out of that. That's a free kick for him, and Anthony Catt may make this hard, soft strategy that he's now trying work.
He's only got to go another, 10 laps to make that strategy work out here, Jay?
Yep, not long at all. And just seen Jacob Reed 1.7 seconds faster than Gronkowski in that last lap. So Gronkowski has to change his strategy here, and it's not going to work for him. I'm still dumbfounded by that incident between Piazza and Nielsen. That's just, it's thrown me.
1.8 seconds at the front of this field right now for Jordan Gronkowski. Jacob Reed is reeling him in, and Gronkowski knows that he has got a long way to go yet in this race. He is 32 laps away from the end of this one here at Zandvoort, and he will know as well in his heart of hearts as Connor Pooler comes into the pits then from third position will look to transition his tyre. It's a bit early, you'd feel, there on that medium. He's going to have to go a long way on a soft tyre to get it home. But you feel that Gronkowski now will have Jacob Reed in sight and knows just how crucial this race is. Pooler now onto the soft.
Yep, Connor Pooler goes to the soft tyre. No surprise there. He's going to lose one more spot. And it would Pare. I'm doing a really good job of butchering names this morning. 6 o'clock in the morning. It's been a battle. We're getting through. And have a look at that. Green light on the dash. Jacob Reed's got DRS, and I don't think Gronkowski was expecting that at this phase.
No, I don't think he was either. And here comes a little bit of a search. He's too far back at the moment here is Jacob Reed. 306 kilometers an hour on the straight, hitting the brakes into Tarzan box. Turn number 1. Out on track, and now all he has to do is wait and bide his time. They will both maybe have to make one stop. Jacob Reed will be looking to try and build an advantage by the time he gets himself through, but there will be a shift and a transfer when those tyres start to go off for Jacob Reed. In comes Paul Hadley then from third place.
Nice stint from Hadley, 42 laps on those tyres. Klaus Siement's the only other medium starter still yet to make a stop. As we said, Anthony Katz starting on the hard. Will have to come in at some point, but he's going to push that out to maybe lap 55. Jacob Reed, I was thinking then, does he try and force the overtake quickly, or does he use these next, say, 3, maybe 4 laps to save some fuel for later on in the race? I think he has to get it done as quick as he can, doesn't he? Really got to get this move done. Try and get a gap as big as he can straight away.
Time is of the essence here for Jacob Reed, and he needs some control out of the Ari Lurendijk corner. Move over to the right-hand side, back over to the left. The one movement from Gronkowski. He moves again to defend. Forces Jacob Reed to go around the outside of Tarzan.
Oh, wow.
Almost a bit of tyre-to-tyre contact as they go through. Power on the exit. Very much roles reversal on the opening lap. Jacob Reed takes the lead.
Beautiful overtake round the outside through turn 1. Jacob Reed, that is a brilliant move. And he will now be trying to punch out fastest laps after fastest lap. Gronkowski now will be starting to wonder whether this strategy call has been the right or wrong one. My thinking is it's not the right call for this stage of the race.
Race on for third right now. Walter Lux is about to make the move and will make the move here on Anthony Cat. So we'll move up and gain the position here. Cat, of course, is expected to fall back in this one because he still has to make his first stop of the race, and he will know as well he can't go on to a second set of hard tyres. As much as he loves them and as much as he loves the alternative strategy, he will have to go on to a set of softs. Round the outside, then try to get that sorted. That is through turn 1. That's Connor Pooler being overtaken by a very resurgent Paul Hadley, who overcooks it through the Hugo and hurls it into the side of Connor Pooler, and he'll collect Fassbender as well. A huge hammer blow for De Marcel.
Oh, Marcel hadn't had the best race as it was, and now it's just gone from bad to extremely worse. Wow. Hadley, just with that little bit of a slip up, that's just cost him and also Marcel Fassbender. Wow, what a bizarre race this has been, and we're only just after halfway.
Yeah, massive kick of oversteer. Oh. He tries to get off the circuit. Marcel Fassbender's just picked a lane he's chosen wrong.
Yep. Fassbender's gone, I have to get around him, and then chose the side where the wall was as opposed to the track, and that often isn't the right way to go. Again, proving that it wasn't the right choice. But again, you're reacting to a car that's sort of going sideways and you're thinking you're going the right way. It's such a reactionary thing, and you'll be devastated by that. Another free kick for a few of these drivers. It's going to be a matter of who actually finishes from this point on. It's been bizarre, hasn't it?
Well, we started with 23 drivers in this race. We are now down to just 16 runners left, and 13 of them on the lead lap. So we have lost almost a third of this field already by lap 44 here of 72. The race being led by Jacob Reed. Out in front, Jordan Gronkowski in second, looking for his third race win of the season. Nobody has got more than 2 so far here with SimSpeed TV, and that is a huge indication that week to week, month to month, this has been the most unpredictable race out there. Race on still, though, for that 6th and 7th position. Connor Pooler, of course, who was there, did have a tap in the side that might have done a bit of bodywork damage. Will have his eyes set on Edward Apare-Ariyi to make that move to jump up into 6th position with those soft tyres, which he will at some point have to nurse.
100%. He's probably... Apare-Ariyi is probably at the end of the phase now, isn't he? He's not far off having to come back in for another set of tyres. He'll probably go medium at this point after going soft. But I think 22 out of his first stint, or did he start on the medium? He may have started on the medium now that about it.
Yeah, so Edward Apare-Ariyi did start on the medium, so he's very much on the two-stop strategy here today. He will be someone who is looking to try and maximise a final stint and make his pit stop somewhere in the next 10 laps or so to make this race happen. To say that, though, I think Jordan Gronkowski is doing quite well here. 14.6 on that last lap, only lost 0.4 of a second. I think Jacob Reed's used the life of his tyre, and if he comes in and he makes a stop, he's still going to have to make all of that time up and then some, because he was only 10 seconds back struggling. Gronkowski's keeping him pinned at this point. Advantage Gronkowski as Apare-Ariyi, 21 laps on this set of tyres, indicates he's got to come in soon.
Yeah, he'll have to come in, and remember, he only got 23, I think, or 24. I mean, is that 24 out of his set of medium tyres to start with? So he's not quite making the numbers add up here. Gone too early with the medium. From the medium to the soft, I should say. So we'll have to come in early. Yeah, Jacob Reed not able to punch out as quick a lap times as he may have hoped at this point. If he can get it to 5 seconds, I think that'll be just the little bit of breathing room that he'd like. Especially now that Gronkowski may be considering whether this strategy call is the right one, going soft, hard, doing a one stop. I think it would have been better going soft, medium, soft. But hey, he has done the testing. We're just guessing. He will know the answers a bit better than us. Either way, I think we're in for a very, very fantastic finish. It's going to be absolutely epic by the time we get to the end. I feel like Gronkowski and Reed are going to be nose to tail with a few laps to go.
It might be a call here for Jacob Reed to jump in a little earlier as Nick Burke goes side by side through Gerlach and into the Hugenholz corner. That could have been scary there as his race with Scott Tuffy continues on, and that is a move done to move Nick Burke up into 14th position with that part well done. But this is where you start saying Jordan Gronkowski's tyres will fade as the race goes on. Even though they're hard tyres, they will still fade. There will be an element where they can't go as well as they used to.
That tyre
and I think that's going to be key. Look at that front left. Look at the front left. I think it's popped.
Yeah, it's popped for sure. It's gone. That Siemens has pushed the limit. Oh, just makes it into the lane.
It looks like a Michelin from like the early 2000s, Jay.
Yep, it's the mid 2000s Michelin with the groove. That's nothing left. There's some nice fresh ones.
All the way to that limit. Klaus Siemens out and away. That was 48 laps. Was that 48 laps on a set of medium?
He did 46 because he just got lapped, so he's now on his 47th lap. Yeah, 46 laps into that stint. That's incredible.
That is really impressive.
I think 38 was absolute maximum.
And he put plus 10 on that. So he very much went to the Alex Albon school of trying to make the tyres last as much as he possibly could. Siemens back out and away again. And another driver diving in. I believe that is going to be Jason Green, the number 6 from 6th position. He's going to dive in. This will be his last stop. Another set of softs incoming.
And he did 25 laps on this stint. Look how many laps to go. 25. He's done a very, very good job of making those tyres last. Surprised that we didn't see Apare-Ariyi in the lane that last lap. We'll see him come in, I think, this lap. So those softs will be starting to really struggle. His pace is not horrible, though. Doing 15.5s on the last lap, so not too bad. And speaking of times, Jacob Reed pulled a second on Gronkowski. It's now up to nearly 5 seconds.
Had a bit of help with the DRS on the front stretch there with Kagan Spark, who was just there behind him. Oh, troubles Troubles down there. It's Tuffy and it's Oshin Richards, both of whom finding themselves in dramas, and that's right up at the top end, or so that's coming out of the final corner there. So around Ari Lurendijk, it goes wrong for the both.
I have no idea what's happened there. That is a bizarre spot to see an incident. You don't often see things happen.
Oh, he's got Tony Hawk. It so easily happens here. You push a little bit too wide around turn 13. He goes Tony Hawk, kicks off, and Richards again tries to pick a lane down low and realizes a little bit too late. Scott Tuffy's down there and he's heading down there. He's not stopping.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Wrong place, wrong time. How many drivers have we seen in the wrong place, wrong time today? Just so unfortunate. Such a difficult circuit. It's a very, very narrow track. The walls are surprisingly close. Upper RA in the lane. Also in Van Rensburg and Motha. So they're getting their second and final stops out of the way. Jacob Reed just goes on by them. Now out to just over 5 seconds. Last lap by another half a second.
Another half a second, and the gap now on screen is the magic 5 seconds that Jay was talking about just a moment ago. A gap which feels comfortable in terms of that range for Jacob Reed, knowing that Gronkowski's got a bit of traffic to try and deal with. George Van Rensburg, of course, right now is now coming into the pits, it seems too, and will be leaving the pits and has left the pits. And there is the air temperature. It really hasn't moved much since when we last saw it about 25 laps ago. It dipped, the sun came back out, and it's just naturally dipped from this point onwards. So nothing really much to talk about here in terms of that temperature. It's pretty much where it's been for the last probably about 30, 40 laps, as into the pits comes Florian Kamaya now to cover off the likes of Apariari.
Yeah, the temperature dropped a fair bit when the clouds came over, and then it's gone back to where it was, but it's still relatively cool, 29 degrees track temperature. Drivers are really liking the conditions on the track, but one of the things we haven't talked about this track, it is a very abrasive track surface. Being so close to the beach, the sand blows across the track and really does leave a little bit of an imprint on the tarmac surface, and can cause a little bit more tyre degradation than you see at other tracks.
It certainly does, and you do know where this track can be a little bit more difficult, and some of that sand does sometimes come up onto the circuit and does make things more slippery. Finally, Anthony Catt comes in and makes his pit stop. 50 laps he has gone on his set, and George Van Rensburg at the same time has hit the wall at Hugenholz.
Got massive damage to the front of his car. Going to struggle to bring that car back to the pits here. Like it's really struggling to drive. This one. But
well, as that happens, Jacob Reed's in for his final stop. I think George is retiring the car, and this is how just grabs the curb through Gerlach.
Gronkowski's following him in.
Just noses it's in. So yeah, absolutely.
Gronkowski's decided, yes, it is the wrong strategy call to be on the hards, and he's coming in for softs as well. So we're going to have an out-and-out sprint. At the end, 21 laps to go. Both of these drivers on soft tyres going to have to bring it home. This one final stop. Ball is in Jacob Reed's court here. His race to lose from this point on, 6.5 second advantage.
And cars in between them right now in the form of Nick Burke and Klaus Siemens, who are racing right now for 12th and 13th positions. Jordan Gronkowski, if you want to go and win this race, you're going to have to find some fantastic laps to go out there and get up to speed. We know how quick he was in the opening stint of the race when he was the only driver on the soft, but that's when he had full fuel in the car. Now he's got no fuel in the car, he's got to do it. Walter Lux in and out there making his stop. He'll drop behind the likes of Connor Pooler. Should come out still ahead, though, of Anthony Catt.
On this out lap, already about a second in the favour of Jacob Reed. It's down to 7.1 seconds, 7.2 seconds, and still stretching. Gronkowski just can't find his rhythm on this out lap. It's going to take him a couple of laps to get the rhythm back. Then he's going to have to work very, very hard to get this gap back down. So Jacob Reed, even with that mistake he made earlier, which cost him 6 seconds, has a huge advantage right now, which is surprising. We thought that it was Gronkowski's race to lose. It's now turned into Jacob Reed's race to lose.
Well, I think the issue here is the dirty air effect. Gronkowski struggling right now with about a second and a half down the road with Siemens and with Nick Burke. That is a huge amount of trouble that he is going to have to try and navigate his way around. As that's happening, there is Jacob Reed, 7.7 seconds now to the good in this race. There are some fantastic battles that are out there right now. The likes of Kagan Spark, for example, he on the hard tyre, he is one of the only drivers out there on the hard tyre, with the exception of Nick Burke on the medium. There, he's now going to realise, uh-oh, I'm on the wrong tyre. Oh, and nearly Apari getting it wrong. Kamai will fly around the outside of Hans Erst to make the move.
Wowee. It's turned into a huge battle because Northern Mott is now involved. He's come out. He's got the best pace out of all of these guys in this group. Last lap by, well, the previous lap by, he was about a second and a half faster than all of them. Have a look at that. Another cloud comes over the circuit. We'll get a little look at the temperature again soon with how much this does affect them.
And on top of that, Paul O'Regan's just made his last stop, so he comes out just in front of them in 7th position. Mr. Consistency, Paul O'Regan. He's always picking up the minor points, but it puts him up so well in the overall iRacing Championship.
Yep. Just able to take advantage of others' errors and get the good results when others don't get great results. Have a look at this too, Sperry. Have a look at this last lap time. Jacob Reed versus Jordan Gronkowski. 1.5 seconds difference. Lost a lot of time in that last sector to Jordan Gronkowski. Gonna have to find something special now.
And how much of that as well, Jay, do you feel is the fact as this battle continues on around Kagan Spark, how much of that is down to the fact that there's been 20 laps of confidence to know where the grip is for Jacob Reed, and Gronkowski's gone away from that, and it's trying to find that grip again after he's been on a very slow, hard tyre?
Definitely would be an impact in the in the car performance and the driver performance, but I mean, Gronkowski's been quick all season long, plus he started on the soft tyre, so he should be okay, but maybe he's just hasn't set up the car for the performance on low fuel with the soft tyre, as Jacob Reed has another fastest lap of the race. Gronkowski really has to respond now. But Spark and Mother here, this battle is getting very, very heated very, very quickly. Remember, Spark has gone to the hard tyre because he hasn't been able to make it the other tyres last, and Mother's got great pace on these softs. He just can't get through.
No, he can't. I think it's very telling at the moment that he can't get through. He's really struggling to find something to work. He knows how important it is that he finds an overtake, and he finds that very, very quickly. The issue that he is going to run into right now is as he finally gets the pass on Kagan Spark, look at how much time it's cost him to Florian Kamai. Apari Ari knows this. He's got to get that move done ASAP.
Yeah, got held up big time, didn't he? And yeah, got to get this move done very, very quickly because, yeah, about 3 seconds that cost for the Motta, that overtake or lack of overtake. Interesting too. Have a look at who's just in the background of this shot too. Jacob Reed is flying right now. First lap into the 112. Have a look at this lap time when it flashes up.
Big, absolutely huge. 112.886 from Jacob Reed. He is driving the wheels off of his Mercedes. Gronkowski with clean air finally responds with a 13.5, but that's still not good enough. That's still 0.7 of a second that he still needs to find out there on track to get anywhere close, and he's now 11.5 away. So he's in a world of hurt in terms of what he wants out of this one. Jacob Reed is showing off in terms of how good he potentially can be when he goes out and races in a series like this. And now that's just in front of him. The move that finally gets done then for Edward Apari.
Finally gets it done, as you said, and Spark, he's just limping this car home. He just wants to finish the race now, knowing that these tyres are struggling. Still got 16 laps to go when they finish this lap as well, so there's still a lot left. We've got just on a quarter, just under a quarter of the race to go, so still plenty that could go on. How this race has gone, just Spark's going to bring it back in. He's realised the hards are no good. Going to go back to some softs. Yeah, Reed will come in and Sorry, he won't come in. He'll come and cross the line. Does a 13.5. What will Gronkowski do? 13.7. So he just can't respond. Jacob Reed's flying.
He is, and I think he's flying with the knowledge that he's got a pro stripe to his name. He's got everything he wants now. He'll be fighting for a world championship starting September 14th, which might take his focus away from racing here, but he is proving that maybe next season Jacob Reed could make a championship push. Maybe 2024 might be his year, because these are the signs that you certainly start to see when you go out there and you race here. You always look to see what can you do, what can you unlock with every single second that you try and put in of energy. Jacob Reed is the sort of driver who loves the open wheels here on iRacing. He'll race anything, he'll race everything, and he is that driver who is quick in everything.
Exciting to see the Open Wheel World Championship restart once again. Not far away from that one getting back underway. Out on all of the iRacing platforms, all of the iRacing channels. The Breed's going to get this overtake done here on RAREA. Now back ahead, leaves 9 cars on the lead lap. I don't think we're going to see another race where every car gets lapped the field, but we're going to see a lot of cars get lapped in this race, you would think, based on the pace Jacob Reed's got right now.
Belle Isle will be close. That much I can certainly say with an element of confidence out there.
It
which
might be more
replaces
that nobody finishes the race as opposed to anything else.
Well, that all depends on how it goes into turn 1 and turn 3, I think, in terms of how that all unlocks. But Jacob Reed right now, 12 seconds to the good, is finding everything he wants. Anthony Catt, though, I think is going to have to be a little bit cautious heading through the final few laps of this race. 14.2 on his last lap. Jason Green did a 14.1, so didn't really close down that much, but it's just pulling away, or losing time, Anthony Catt is, I should say, from Walter Lux, which is committing himself really to the 5th position in this race, which is not bad really when you consider you started on the 10th row of the grid, and this is not a track that you can freely pass at.
And you started on the hard tyre. You started on the slowest tyre. You still made overtakes on the slowest tyre in that first stint. That was what I think impressed me the most. And this Northern Mott has just made a very, very classic overtake as well, but a nice overtake, get himself up into 8th position. So at the back shot there is Jacob Reed, so he's still a little bit behind these guys, but that is a nice overtake. Classic overtake at Zandvoort. Here, as I said, Northern Mott into 8th position. Yeah, Anthony Catt, I think that first stint really surprised everyone. The pace that he had on the hard tyre, even when it was brand new, still rock hard, he did a brilliant job, was making overtakes, was defending his position well and not losing ground. So I think that first stint of the race was absolutely brilliant from Anthony Catt. Probably better than what we're seeing right now from Jacob Reed, considering the conditions the track was in, condition his tyres were in, and the drivers he had around him. He drove absolutely brilliantly in that first phase of the race.
Yeah, he's driven fantastically in the first phase, and I'm sure that these drivers are all going to turn around, look at each other and go, okay, this has been an absolutely incredible run in terms of what they've been searching for, but it is going to be about points at the end of the day. We are looking at Jacob Reed. He's going to get some fantastic points from this. But I think Jordan Gronkowski here, the way that he's gone about this race, when he knew he had to switch to a soft, that was a try something strategy. But even though he's trying something right now, he's still 25 seconds to the good compared to Connor Pooler. And on a race like this, on a long championship like this, an all-year championship, you're thinking about, are you leaving points in the back pocket? I don't think he is here today. I think he'll be happy with a second place, and it's one Frenchman to keep in mind who was the master of getting exactly what he needs, Alain Prost. It's that style of drive.
Yeah, well, how often do we say it's the races that you can't win? Maximising your points in those is the races that are important for a championship. And Jacob Reed's pace today has just been absolutely outstanding. So Gronkowski's doing everything he can to consolidate as many points as possible. Connor Pooler doing a great job at the moment in 3rd, but does he owe us a pit stop? That's my big question right now. He's on his 19th lap in this stint. What's the most we've seen anyone do on softs? 25? He'll have to pit and come in for a little splash of tyres. He's going to have to come in and get one more set. Go again. I think Connor Pooler's had a little misstep here in regards to tyre conservation and tyre life, tyre performance.
Yeah, so Connor Pooler's going to have a bit of work to do here if he wants to get that one home, and he's only got himself about 7 seconds to the good on Walter Lux. That last time by, Walter Lux took 9/10 of a second out of him. We'll see what time Pooler does over the line. 14.8 indicates tyre conservation, that he's not got the same pace compared to those around. Lux over the line, 13.8, takes another second out the back pocket. It's now 7 seconds, and that looks like that's Kamaya then having a spin, drops himself down to 10.
He's done it all by himself as well, so had a little moment through turn 9, exit of turn 9. Just runs it a little bit wide. It's out of the normal racing groove on the throttle too early, and around he goes. So I think it's a race of who hasn't made an error, really, isn't it? I mean, even race leader Jacob Reed's made a big error in this one. It's still been okay. I think everyone has made a big mistake at some point in this race.
It's all about driving mistake-free. Jacob Reed took his first win 2 rounds ago at the Hungaroring when we were not with you here for coverage. But his 12.2 second margin at the front of this field, no arguments about that. In comes Kamai. I wonder if he picked up a little bit of damage there in terms of his stock, because he's in and out and away again. Another set of the soft tyres. I think his tyres just absolutely let go on him.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he pushed it too hard in regards to tyres. Puller still going, so now on lap 21 in this stint. We do. When will he come in? I mean, I'd be surprised if he can get it all the way to the end, considering what we've seen from everyone else in the field. You're right, he is definitely conserving tyres, but Walter Lux is coming and coming quick, so tyre conservation may be too little too late. Walter Lux is only 5 seconds back now.
And that is going to be a big red warning light for Connor Pooler. How is he going to hold him back and save tyre life? You might have to be a bit more aggressive in the final 5 laps of the race if he catches in time. We now find ourselves with 10 laps to go for your leader, Jacob Reed. I think now's as good a time as any, Jay, to take a final look at how the temperatures have fluctuated over the course of the race, because it has been crucial. You can see that big dip about a couple of laps ago, down to 27. The temperatures have gone up a little bit because the sun's out there on the track, but it really does make a huge difference when that cloud cover comes over.
It does, and yeah, it makes a couple of laps for the temperature to go back into the track. Of course, it's getting late in the day here, 4:35 p.m. in sim time. So yeah, it's definitely optimal conditions for racing, though. I mean, the wind is a little bit higher than what most drivers would have preferred, but definitely great conditions for racing out there today. A couple of clouds come over right at the end. We might see some absolutely blistering lap times from our front too.
And remember, that fastest lap bonus point might be very important for that SimSpeed Championship. However, it plays itself out come the end of the season. So keep that in the back of the mind, that every single lap is going to matter, is going to count in some way, shape or form. 13.9 that last time by from Gronkowski. I doubt that he'll come in, get a set of tyres and go out and go again. You wouldn't want to risk his race like that, where you would see that maybe in other races out there in the championship. But Jacob Reed will know that he's 13 seconds to the good with a championship bonus point here for SimSpeed. You can just hold on with what he has at the moment. There have been some very underrated drives through this field, and I think Nick Burke will have to go down as one of them, up in 11th position, having started on the second half, the 11th row of the grid. We see him up the hill in a mock-up Red Bull as close as he can, with the livery restrictions put on with Mercedes W13 performance.
He's on the medium tyre as well, which is now probably at the crossover point, medium and soft, with Klaus Siemens ahead. He's only 3 seconds back, so there's a chance that he could get himself up and into the top 10 at this point. So don't be surprised if Nick Burke gets himself into the top 10 ahead of Klaus Siemens over the next 8 laps. Definitely close enough to potentially steal that position.
Took a tenth of a second over that last lap, so is going to be looking at that going, I'd like it. I'd really like it. It's 1 championship point in the SimSpeed Championship, so that's worth a lot to some drivers and not a lot to others out there. But a top 10, you always look to try and take in terms of the racing out there. And again, that it looks like a case then between those two drivers. Seamit's a 14.3. Nick Burke lost half a second though on that last lap, so Seamit's clearly is picking up the pace. I'd keep another eye on Walter Lux because that gap looks like it might be closing in more. 14.6 from Connor Pooler. Lux this time 4.2. I think Lux is now starting to realise that he's burnt his tyres a little bit, not catching at the same rate that he used to.
The advantage he's got though, his tyres are 10 laps better than Connor Pooler's, so Pooler now is really going to have to be gentle to make this car home on this set of tyres. I don't see how it's possible, but we've been proven wrong before. I guess the advantage is that the fuel is out of the car. There's not much fuel in the car, so it'll be a little bit easier on the tyres. Yeah, he's going to have to work very, very hard to bring this home. At 4 seconds, he's still got the advantage. He's still got one hand, 1 foot on the podium, but won't take much for a little slip up, whether it be driver, whether it be tyre, whether it be car, whether it be pace from Walter Lux. That changes now down to 3.7. Walter Lux is closing.
He is closing, and Connor Pooler knows it, but he also knows that 0.4 of a second a lap right now would leave Walter Lux 3 laps short. What he'll also know is that if Walter Lux gets within a second, that DRS is going to be crucial. So you get yourself at grade boundary, so to speak. You have to get from 4 seconds to 3 seconds, 3 to 2, 2 to 1, and at 1 second, you go for it. And that's a 14 flat. Good response there by Walter Lux over that last lap. Took 0.7 of a second. That will get it done over the course of racing at that rate of knots.
Yep. 0.7 of a second will put him there with 4 to go. Or 3 to go. So he needs to do another couple like that. He's already got it down to 3.4 and it's still closing. 3.3. Lux has definitely realised what's going on now. I'm sure he's got someone in his ear saying, hey, push on, because if you get to Pooler, he'll have no tyre left at all.
That is probably the biggest thing he's thinking about right now. If Connor Pooler has got nothing, I absolutely have to go. I will be very interested to see the sector breakdowns between them in terms of what they do on this next lap, because I think that will be the key in terms of working out where the confidence is over the course of the lap. What corners maybe Connor Pooler is being concerned about in terms of his tyre life. And I reckon it's the high load corners. I reckon corners like Shevlak and the likes of Masters Corner are going to be huge, because it is those left-hand side tyres around this clockwise circuit which are going to bear the brunt.
Asking you shall receive. There you go. Another half a second, or just over half a second, in favour of Walter Lux. All pretty much in the first sector.
Second sector.
First and second.
Lost 0.2 actually in the final sector there, Jay.
Which is surprising, considering the final sector is mostly the last 2 corners. So Walter Lux may have just had a little bit of an issue there, or may have been doing a bit of battery conservation. Connor Pooler still at 3 seconds. Is he going to be able to hold on? This is going to be an interesting final few laps. This is going to be fantastic to watch. I think Walter Lux is going to be there with 1 to go. Will Connor Pooler have any tyre left to defend once he's there, though?
If he gets to 1.5 seconds, he'll start fighting the dirty air. That's what we saw with Jordan Gronkowski in the lap traffic. That's also something to keep in mind. Nick Burke off the road, though, as he goes through the final couple corners, and that will allow Florian Kamar to go through, and Burke himself will actually dive down into the pit. So whatever he's done, it's hurt the front wing, but there's not much more he can do about that.
So might as well come in and finish the race rather than push on and maybe put it in the fence. Great battle that he had there, great drive he's had. Better to finish the race than to put it in the wall. Last lap by only lost 1/10 to Walter Lux, so that battle may have just gone back in the favour of Connor Pooler.
It may have just done, and I think Connor Pooler has timed that perfectly in terms of what he needs. He's been running to a number, and he might just be safe on what he feels he's got with the tyres, and that's why he's able to push and extend. It's 2.7 seconds at this moment in time, and he will realize how crucial that is, that the laps keep ticking over and that gap doesn't drop under 2 seconds. It's psychological at this point in time. Connor Pooler is doing everything he needs to, like very much a wannabe rugby player. He is stiff-arming and holding off at an arm's length Walter Lux, the Austrian.
Slap by, Walter Lux has definitely gained some ground. It's down to 2.5 seconds, so it's there potentially within striking distance. 4 to go. Still plenty of opportunity for these guys to battle on. 4 laps to go at 2.5 seconds. He needs, what's that, 0.6 of a second a lap? That still wouldn't be enough, so Walter Lux now really has to punch out some magical laps over the next 2 to give himself a chance to make the move. Connor Pooler just has to keep doing what he's doing.
Well, the key here is not 4 laps to go, it's really 3. You have to consider it now. You're only going to have to get DRS onto the final lap of the race. That's what's going to give him an opportunity to make that pass, and it's at the control of that driver there who went through turn 1, Jacob Reed. There is Connor Pooler now making his way through to turn 9 out on track towards CM.com corner. And now Walter Lux is trying to throw the kitchen sink at it. 2.2, right on the limit of the curve as he goes through CM.com. And now looks to drive over towards Hans 2.2. And Gronkowski is going to search for a fastest lap as he will pit for a final set of softs.
Yep. It's too far back to gain the time. Might as well do it. He's not going to lose another spot. He'll be back out ahead of Connor Pooler here. Of 1 lap to try and punch out that fastest lap. You've just seen Nick Burke have another issue as well. Gap now 2.2. That is not enough in favour of Walter Lux to gain this spot. Connor Pooler may just have enough left in the tyre. Going to be very close, but he might just do it. He might hold on here.
I think he might. I think he's driving fantastically, and he has done so on a one-stop strategy, a medium soft one-stop, which we haven't really seen over the course of this race. A number of drivers have been dancing in and around it, but struggling on tyre life towards the end. Connor Pooler has done that absolutely fantastically in terms of what he was looking to get out of it. The drivers who were looking to do the same thing, both out with their own issues, their own retirements that took out some very key names in terms of this field. But now that gap still continues on, and you look behind, Nick Burke just making the move there on Scott Tuffy, just about holding on that 12th place.
These guys are still pushing on, fighting over the last position on track, but hey, I don't think they'll be too upset. They've finished ahead of half of the field, regardless of how the race goes from here. They're doing a brilliant job. Jacob Reed, though, speaking of great jobs, my speaking isn't doing a great job, but Jacob Reed has been absolutely brilliant. Sure, 45-second advantage at the moment doesn't really show the true pace in regards to the race, but he's been driving absolutely brilliantly. Other than that one little flub he had at turn 1 halfway through his first stint, been almost flawless.
1.5 seconds now for Walter Lux as the white flag is waved by Barney the Flagman, as he has done for 15 years here in iRacing, as it celebrates its 15th anniversary, or has just done. There is the 3rd place battle then with Connor Pooler and Walter Lux. He knows how important this is. 1.2 seconds now. He's really trying to attack. Big kick of oversteer. Gets the gap to just a second. Just flicked over to a second, but just a little bit more. It's now 1.1, maybe a bit less. It looks like it's 1.2 still. I'm not sure he's going to get DRS on this last lap. He's going to need a little bit of help if he wants to get this one done, and he knows that when he's going to try and find that move, it's going to have to be unconventional to get it. He does not have the DRS heading on to the final lap of this race. So Walter Lux is going to have to do it on the road, and he's going to have to do it with a very cool drive. But heading into Hanses then for the final time will be Jacob Reed. This will be his first televised victory of the season. He got one at the Hungaroring. We weren't there for it for you, but Jacob Reed is proving that he is in the pro class, and it has taken him years to reach that mountain. Jacob Reed puts on a showcase and wins at the Circuit Park Zandvoort. We'll keep an eye on the fastest lap. Gronkowski put a 13.4 down with his first effort. He'll look for more. Connor Pooler, though, looks like he has built that gap up, and pushing too hard maybe has been Walter Lux over this lap. Nick Burke steals the fastest lap, 1:12.8. There's no championship point for him for that in 12th place, but he might have just stolen it on the final lap of the race. It will come down to whether Jordan Gronkowski's got it at this point. We'll see overall right now what he's got. 13.1, his current best. As he rounds himself through the final corner, it will confirm second place for him, and he short lines over towards the line. 12.8 to beat, and he puts an 11.9 down and a crucial SimSpeed championship point to boot. Connor Puller will hold on for what is a big podium for his season.
Finish that race. Just a great job from Gronkowski to get that fastest lap. Well done by Nick Burke to almost steal it away. But Jacob Reed, absolutely fantastic drive. Well done to you. You deserve that win because that was a brilliant effort.
An incredible effort. A top 5 for Anthony Cat as well. By the way, the last finisher on the lead lap has now crossed over and made it over the line. We can now say that results are official here from the Circuit Park Zandvoort, and it was after 72 laps of racing, 1 hour, 30 minutes and 17 seconds, Jacob Reed's race, and he does so by a deceptive 42.9 seconds over the line. He had everything he wanted and then some over Jordan Gronkowski, who at best was about 15 seconds behind come the end of the race. Connor Puller, though, will take third. Gronkowski, of course, picking up points in the championship, important points at that, with Walter Lux in 4th and Anthony Cat in 5th place after starting in 19th. You then had Jason Green finish 6th, the last finisher on the lead lap being Paul O'Regan in 7th, as Norton Motter would end up in 8th, ahead of Edward Apare-Ariyi in 9th and Klaus Siemitz all 1 lap down. 2 laps down would be Nick Burke and Scott Tuffy. The last driver a lap down was Florian Kameyer in 11th position. Kagan Spark would be the first of the retirees, 17 laps away from the end. Front nose off for George van Rensburg. He was having a really good race, but ultimately that found himself some troubles here today. Ossian Richards, 25 laps down. He found himself caught up as well in issues with Paul Hadley and Marcel Fassbender. The two of them going through Richards' incident with Scott Tuffy. Then you had Kent Nielsen and Dan Piazza. Kent Nielsen looking a little bit sheepish after the racing action was done for the pair of them, as Piazza came into pit, did the Italian, and over the page then for 3 more drivers out of the race. Vicente Garcia Parra out of the race, then 38 laps down overall, along with Adam Bezoita and then Julian Magalon, who cannot catch a break in the iRacing Grand Prix Tour. He has never been more due of a victory than he has done, and his race ending at turn 2 over at Gerlachbocht over the course of action. But Jay, we head from Zandvoort and the Dutch dunes to the effective home of Max Verstappen in just 1 week's time. Oh, we head to the Temple of Speed. It is the most brilliant circuit out there. It's the most different circuit out there. They don't build them like this anymore, Jay. It's Monza.
This is going to be absolutely fantastic. Look forward to next week. It's going to be a fun one. Monza's, as you say, built differently. It's going to be a very, very different race for all the right and potentially wrong reasons. I'm not looking forward to turn 1, lap 1, but after that, I'm looking forward to everything else that goes on. It's going to be a brilliant weekend of racing at Monza next weekend.
It's been traditionally clean over the last few seasons that we've seen with the iRacing Grand Prix Tour, with the fixed tour, with everything that we've seen over. It has been a traditionally clean run over there at Monza, and we hope to see you there. Massive thanks, though, has to go over to everyone who has been watching and for everyone who has got it done for us, as well as the SimSpeed replays that we have just seen. The iRacing Grand Prix Tour moves on. We're back in business for the second half of the season, which will have a frantic finish in terms of where we are going. But it is crucial to note that the main players of the game before the break are still the main players of the game after it. Jacob Reed put on a showcase and a masterclass and might look to go for a late push in terms of championship efforts, both iRacing and SimSpeed. But Jordan Gronkowski is doing more than enough to cover off his losses and just run this championship down from a driver who started with the number 20 on his car at the start of the season. Today he started with the number 8, and he is proving that he is hot property as it goes forward. Fassbender with something to think about. Anthony Cat keeping himself in the mix, but it is the Temple of Speed that comes along next. Pay your tithing. We will see you on the outskirts of Milan.